you're going to get left with him on tanks, and he's equally going to do as well. We're going to jump straight into pick and ban, however. RB over on the red side this time, with War over on the blue. Thresh is going to be the first lock away, or take away, from RB, and there goes the Jace.
That's kind of the sign that Kasing is saying, I don't want Thresh, I want another playmaker. I want to play Rakan again, because he's had some brilliant games in that thus far. We've seen it during CSQ, we've seen it in the last game just now. He loves it. And it's kind of every support's dream to be, you know, I think it was Wolf who said from SKT at one point, I wish I could be more recognised. Sorry, Bang, sorry. Bang Wolf. No, Wolf, it is Wolf, I'm right the first time. I was like, hang on, does that sound right in my own head? But when he was basically saying, you never really get these moments as a support player where you have the big, that was because of the support. And Rakan is perfect for that. So for players like Kasing, perfect pickup.
Absolutely. LeBlanc and the Galio are going to be the next bans for RB. And there comes the Zac ban as well. So that was kind of expected. Realistically, you have to ban it on... And you ban Elise probably here to follow up as well, just to deny those two strong picks, because that could be the big first power picks. In fact, no, they're too scared of Kasing's pick here and taking that Rakan away. That does leave the Elise open here, so surely you think, Mujin, I've got another playmaking potential here, let's take that one away, and sure enough, they'll lock that win as their first pick. That was an easy guess.
Easy, mate.
That was too easy for you to guess that one. Elise will be the lock-in for RB. Another massive early playmaking jungler for Mujin. Now, what do Wind and Rain take here? They've got the chance now to pick two massive pickups. Lee Sin's not a bad idea.
And I was going to say as well, again, yeah, I was about to say, like we spoke about it just a few minutes ago, saying in CSQ, we saw him play it a lot. Why not take it away? I think Lee Sin here you have to go with. Card is not working out for you. Please stop picking it. Just try something different here. Again, you've got to mix things up. In fact, you've got the Caitlyn already. You need disengage here. Take that Gragas we were talking about earlier on.
Gragas has been a big pickup for Tharla as well, so taking that one off the board is going to be very, very important for them.
I don't...
Caitlyn will be the lock, as well as the Rek'Sai.
I don't like the Rek'Sai here, purely because it's very similar to the Kha'Zix. You need it to be the mid-game duelist now. But previous to the rework, yes, it would have worked absolutely fine as a tank, but now you've got the changes come through where, for example, the W knock up on the Unburrow. Unburrow only hits one target. It does knock others away, but you're more based around actually getting in there and fighting against people more frequently now. So if you're going to be ganking a lot, that's absolutely fine. If you're not, if you're relying on being his protection for the Caitlyn, well, you've got issues. They need to be making picks here as well, because they want that execute damage that comes through from Dan. That relies on them, again, picking this early game comp that can lay down a lot of damage and get the executes coming through for the Rek'Sai.
Well, Kennen is going to be the pickup here for RB. That's probably going to go over the weight of Thal in the top lane. Yep. And that's going to be, again, another massive carry potential for him. He's going to sit in that split push and then hopefully influence the fights later on. I mean, unless we're going to see some crazy Cedrian Kennen, but no, we will see a Kalista being locked in here as well. Now, unkilled on the Kalista thus far. Last week he went something like 9-0, I believe. So, nice to pick up him. Another playmaker, another very safe laner as well.
I would love to see them here. Pick a mid laner, use your two bans to ban away champions from Magifelix. Maybe he tries to flex that cannon into the mid lane. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. But you've got the opportunity now. You can pick a mid laner, you can go for two bans and put Larssen in a very, very strong position. Instead they go for the Swain once more. I'm not a fan, honestly.
Well, it didn't do so badly in lane against Thal, but coming up against the Kennen ranged matchup, both of them ranged, but Kennen, you got to say, definitely has the pressure advantage early game. The early game, not early game,
it's the same
and abilities, but the base damage on the Kennen is also high, and Thal's just going to play very aggressive because that's what he does best.
The same concern for me here is that you said it like, yeah, okay, he didn't lose in lane, but this is the issue. They need to win in lane. Wind and Rain need to be winning their lanes here if they're going to have any chance against RB, who are better at macro, better at team fights. They've got to get some kind of advantage, and taking lanes that just do fine isn't going to be enough for them. They need to be winning these, and I just don't think the Swain is a winning pick here.
Orianna is going to be the ban for Red Bulls.
Against Larssen, we know he can play that very well.
Yes, that he can. And a Syndra taken off the fold once more.
Off the fold. Interesting one. It's all mid lane bans coming through because neither side has taken them away here, so they're trying to mix things up from last game. You know, already taking away the Syndra does change that out as well. It takes away the safe pick of the Corki. We saw it earlier on in the first game of the day and what it can do. It's just very safe. Against the Echo, didn't have such a good time, but still a pretty solid pick to choose away here. All mid lane bans, and Kassadin going to be the last one too. So interesting to see what they choose to go in the mid lane here. Neither's really got a strong carry, but maybe they choose to take the Swain in the mid lane and force something else into the top lane instead.
I mean, Swain, not the greatest.
I'm pleased, please. I love Reliant Soul, please. There's no Cass in here as well. That's gone away now. But then again, we said earlier on, Vladimir, Cassiopeia, things like this. The big control mages is what Larssen's known for. Gonna go with the Cassiopeia.
Cassiopeia for Larssen. That will mean JWoww back up in the top lane with the Swain. So Cassiopeia, pretty big champion. But once more, scaling composition from Wind and Rain. Nothing massively early game right now. They've got Cassiopeia that wants to scale. They've got a Swain that wants to scale. Same with the Caitlyn. It's going to rely on Dan once more. in this jungle role to get his laners ahead. Now it's banned last game. That's going to get picked up. That Talia is going to go towards Magifelix.
And you basically hit the nail on the head there, what you said about Wind and Rain. This is another mid to late game composition. This again relies on you getting to the 30-minute mark and being relevant. That means not being any more than 7,000 to 8,000 gold behind tops. Like, we've seen miraculous comebacks where teams have come back from 12 to 4,000 gold deficits and still won, but it's the exception rather than the rule. And I think with Wind and Rain, we're going to find themselves being the rule here. They're not going to be able to pull something like that out of the bag. And the comp from RB, once again, it's all about this early aggression. The Elise is going to be in every lane, landing those cocoons all day. I just don't see again how Wind and Rain managed to win this draft out. It feels like a very weak draft for them. I do like the Zilean, because at least gives them some kind of saving potential, you could say.
That it is. Zilean is going to go towards the bottom side. AOD is going to be the wizard with the time powers. He's going to be able to save a lot of his carries in these team fights. But if you look at RB, the amount of pick and setup potential that they do have, you can imagine as soon as the Zilean ult goes on to one of the members of Wind and Rain, the amount of sustained damage that Team Red Bulls actually have is going to be kind of detrimental to that. They're going to go down, they're going to get rezzed again, they've got, you know, 3/4 HP, they're going to get insta-killed once more. You've got Kalista, perfect champion in these long sustained team fights, especially when she gets online with the Blade, the Rune King and the Rune Hands. You've got Tharl, who's going to go this sustained damage build, Frozen Mallet, etc. It's going to be a very, very tough game, I think, for Wind and Rain once more, because once more they've drafted non-winning matchups.
They have, and I would love to see Dan try and make some impact in the bot lane here, knowing you've got this Caitlyn that you can scale up later on, knowing you've got the Zilean to really carry it through. If it does get picked off, it's not a big deal. You've got the res there. They've got so much potential. They've got the knock-up from the Rek'Sai, they've got the Caitlyn traps, they've got everything else that works in their favor in terms of the Zilean stuns as well. They have tools. They just need to make use of them. Dan needs to stop, you know, floundering around near Baron Pit, near Dragon Pit, and kind of thinking, oh, well, what's going on? That requires his team kind of giving him some more help in terms of vision control, because that was the big biter for him last game. The reason he got picked off in the first place was a lack of vision, and that is where Wind and Rain need to put some focus, I feel, in the early game to make sure they can get themselves into the mid game and hopefully towards that fabled land of late game where they can really come online.
The fabled land.
The fabled land. They've been dreaming of it for weeks now, and it's never really come to fruition for them. This could be the game.
This could be the game.
You have to always hold some hope, right?
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, if they lose this game, they will definitely be at the bottom of the standings. 0-2 last week. Currently 0-1 against RB. Now, I mentioned the chrono shift from the Zilean. The question is, who do you use it on? Because you got to think to yourselves, if Team RB have already killed one member of Wind and Rain, who's to say they won't do it again? We're going to get on to the Rift, however. Game number 2, RB versus War. You got to say, RB looked hella spicy in that first game.
Hella spicy.
That's a good way of putting it.
That's one of your favorite words, hella. I love it.
Hella.
Look hella spicy. And they look hella good, to be fair, as well. The win, obviously, coming across quite convincingly, as we expected. Jwel here. Ooh.
Cool. Very, very good at level 1. J-Round gets tagged. Tharl is going to get an auto-attack. He's going to be forced to flash here. 3 for the stun. Stunned up as well with the cocoon. That'll be first blood. Going straight over to Magifelix. Probably one of the worst starts you had. Jwel had that flash. Could have flashed the last proc on the stun, but decided not to.
What did we say just a few minutes ago? Larssen has the potential to be big when he manages to get himself on a carry like the Cassiopeia. What's they just done here? Give a first blood kill over to Magifelix to make his lane even smoother. He can go back and get himself a Dark Seer. He's got the Doran's Ring. He's got the pots to go for. This is dreamland, I feel, for RB as a start. And it also puts a slight back foot going through for Jwel here, who knows he's gone down already. Didn't even flash, so quite wise, I think, to hold on to that one. Otherwise, may have found himself just getting chased in the tower because it was only one hit until he was dead.
Extra biscuit and a Dark Seal.
Like, why not flash? In that case, why not flash? Like, you know that if you lose the early game, you're done. So just take it. Just take the flash. Get some wards down. Play safe. It won't hurt.
It will not hurt, but it's definitely going to hurt them now. With Mugen getting that assist, well, everybody getting the assist, really, apart from Cedrian not holding his weight. No assist for you, my man. No 100% kill participation just yet. But now Danny is going to start on these Raptors, but Mugen once more starting on a buff rather than any one of the smaller camps. I'm not sure he's going to be able to 3-buff a Rek'Sai, but we'll have to wait and see.
I can't imagine you do here as well, because the early game dueling potential of the Rek'Sai equally is quite impactful, especially now with the changes that have come through. Does bring out some more damage to the party, and the sustain as well coming through with his new, well, with her, I should say, new Fury charges. It now works in that any ability you land while on borrowed or auto attack gives you 25 Fury. That kind of heal that it can give you at 100 Fury is a lot less, but you get that so much more often. So going in and out of a fight, or going in for fights, trying to then go underground for a short while, use some abilities there, then come back up and go for a fight again, that's the ideal way to play it. So you can have some really good successes in the early game, as long as you don't find yourself getting caught out, as we've always seen happen to Rek'Sai's, where players will just stand still, not let the Tremor Sense spot them, and then suddenly you've got 3 or 4 members catching you out by surprise.
I mean, with Dan's new ultimate as well, not being that global teleport is going to have a little less of a pressure advantage. Void Rush now just leaping onto a target if they're hit by the Prey Seeker or the Chilling Smite. Is he going to be able to find that target though? Again, a lot of disengage and a lot of re-engage potential from RB. Mujin now taking his red buff is going to wander down towards this bottom lane. Not much mobility on Woolite, AOD as well alike. Not been warded out here either. Woolite might be in a lot of trouble. Max Rage Cocoon, oh my goodness, lands. Even though he did get that Caliber net off, it's not going to matter. The stun comes through from Kasing. Mujin finds the next kill. RB 2-0 on the board, looking mighty fine with themselves.
Well, we said Dan was the one who needed to be in this bot lane trying to make plays early, but Mujin just beats him there, got himself the double buff, came and made the play that was required, and now Cedrian, we've seen what he can do when he's got this Kalista. We can see what Kasing can do when you can put the 2 champions together. The stun potential is absolutely massive. The number of stacks you can get on those spears throughout that lifetime, especially from level 6. You've got so many seconds of CC to work with, and just giving them even a small advantage like this one, yep, Woolite's going to find himself at such a disadvantage and already conceding this lane, buying himself a cull just to try and get himself through to the mid-game with a little bit more gold in his back pocket.
Here comes Dan, though, maybe looking for something on the top side. Mujin is going to be there on the Elise. Does have the blast going to work with, so if he really wanted to follow that one up, he could. But JWoww has the pressure advantage right now over Thal. And I got to mention, Woolite blew the flash, he blew that heal, but he has picked up a cull. No potions coming back into the lane. And against Cedrian, who's probably going to build Blade the Rune King, a much earlier power spike than this Caitlyn's going to have, just conceding the lane in that regard.
Yeah, Larssen at least managing to keep himself relevant in farm, but there's always a spider lurking around the corner, and this is where he might find himself in some trouble here. Mujin doesn't have flash. Doesn't manage to land that CC to bring him back in either. There could have been a flash potential there to take that away from Larssen, but he's, you know, again, very, very experienced on Cassiopeia, one of his more comfortable champions to pick up in the mid lane. Just has to make sure he's dealing with Magifelix, who of course did get that first blood and got that Dark Seal to really start getting himself ahead.
The Dark Seal working wonders for him. Still got 3 potions, not been pushed out at all. Now Magifelix maybe looking towards the bottom side. It has been warded out, so at least War no. This is very, very punishing. There was even a trap in the bush. Will I get stunned up here? Kasing actually flashing forward. Isn't going to be able to find it just yet. There comes the stun. There comes the cleanse. Unraveled Earth to finish up the kill. Cedrian rends him. And that'll be another kill on the board for RB. 3-0. Already 1,000 gold in the bank for them. Larssen gets the push advantage on mid, but
this is so cruel.
RB's macro play once again showing up.
Didn't even have to hit level 6 here. Magifelix was already roaming down to the bot lane to help out with more kills. In this case, it's Cedrian who got the kill. They're ignoring Larssen, and we've seen teams do this in CSQ. They just leave him alone and say, right, we acknowledge Larssen is going to enter the mid game at a pretty strong standard, and in some cases he did. He got like quadra kills and Orianna in a few cases, for example. But you can just worry about the rest of the team. Make sure Caitlyn isn't relevant. Make sure Dan is irrelevant. Make sure JWoww is irrelevant. And suddenly, who's going to be able to protect Woolite? Absolutely no one. Larsen's left on his own. The Cassiopeia doesn't stand very well on her own against the whole team, and suddenly the whole thing falls apart. So it's more of the same from Wind and Rain, just not kind of thinking about that early game, properly. Not getting themselves scaling up into the mid game. It's going to cost them over time. What
is he good for? Absolutely nothing right now. Not with that cull in his back pocket, stacking up. He's took 20 CS. That's 20 extra gold already, but that's going to get finished around the 12-minute mark, you could imagine. 12-15. Magifelix might be in a little bit of trouble. Does have Ghost, does have Flash available. Seismic Shove also. Can't really touch him. Larssen, he needs to at least burn that Flash in order to try and find something. Dan's taking a lot of damage, yeah. Magifelix does have Storm Raider Surge as well, just for that extra movement speed to get out of dodge fairly fast.
Yeah, I mean, you saw how much damage Dan took in there. That's a sign of confidence from Magifelix that he can just lay down that return damage. He knew there was no threat of being caught out by Larssen. Super easy escape here. Maybe a bit too telegraphed by Dan. Maybe he should have come round through blue side jungle and made an entry that way. Because, again, he's just being useless, needless to say, in the early game. 0 kill participation. We're 7 minutes in and already full 100% kill participation coming through from Mujin.
Well, you say 0 kill participation. It's because he's got no kills.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
No kills on the side of War.
But that should be his job in the early game. He is the aggressor in these lanes. He's the one who can make things happen. And so far, we've seen him enter a lane once.
That it is. Magifelix once more, looking for that row.
At level 6 as well.
My goodness, that Weaver's Wall is going to be hella impactful
Look how far back they have to play.
Yeah.
They're halfway back across the lane.
Look at that vision as well, that deep teleport ward. 4th foul to come through. That's got ultimate, that's got TP. Kasing knows there's a ward in that brush. Magifelix is returned to the mid. Larsen's going to punish him for it. But now with that tier, also stacking up very, very slowly. Again, War playing this very much. We're going to stand back. We're going to let you CS. Ooh. We're going to let you farm. In fact, nice. Gaze on to Magifelix. Finally picking up their first kill. That kill's going to go straight over to Larsen as well. And already getting 1 kill on the board is going to relieve a lot of that pressure in the mid lane.
That wasn't really that hard to do, see? It was one Allman coming out of Larsen. It was a follow. Okay, yes, Dan had to use Flash to catch up there in time, but that is as simple as it can be. You've got so much movement denial coming through from Larsen with the ground on his W. Just make use of it. Like, why not? It's worked out so well for them now and already going for the invade. This is the first time I think we've ever seen Dan inside the enemy jungle.
Does smite away the blue buff as well, and Dan finally making that impact that he wanted to on this more or less tanky Rek'Sai. Not on that Kha'Zix, who has little to no CC, does have avoid spikes for the slow, but that's about it. But still, Rebels in the lead. And you got to say, RB right now, their macro has been absolutely beautiful throughout CSQ, throughout challenges right now.
I like what Larsen's going for here as well. He knows that this mid lane, it's not super secure, but he knows that RB are going to ignore him for the most part and let him just do his thing. That because he plays so super safe, because it's more important for them to focus on Woolite in the bot lane. He's saying, right, Rod of Ages, tier, let's get that stacked up, let's get going. And as soon as I get both of those items completed, I'm going to be a monster coming into the mid game. As long as my team stays relevant, we are going to be golden.
Oh man, look
Speaking
at those
of relevant though.
Weaver's Wall is going to come out, is going to block Woolite off from defending that turret. Just using that very defensively there, just to be able to get that pressure on that tier 1 turret in the bottom lane. Dan is going to be here, TP behind actually. Well, JWoww will be able to join that fight. Double Bonds doesn't end up landing. There comes the seismic shove onto JWoww. It does a lot of damage to him. They're going to go for the disengage. Jason the Hole comes through. He's going to land on Kasing, but he's going to block it with the shield. Teleport from Foul was also matched. There comes another move, doesn't find anyone. JWoww gets tagged up by Mujin, but really can't find anything all too much. Beautiful disengage there from RB, but War as well. Nice disengage from them, and they do not give up that tier 1 turret in the bottom lane.
So far, this has been so much smoother from Wind & Rain compared to last game. They're only 700 gold behind at 10 minutes. You know, Larsen is 20 CS ahead in this mid lane. Okay, bot lane's back there behind 20 CS. Everywhere else is pretty even. Look at the farm as well coming through for Dan compared to Mujin. That just tells you how much focus Mujin has been putting on trying to get these ganks in. It's not a bad thing. It's doing well for him so far.
Where they're trying to find something. Larsen actually fell, flashed over the wall. Cocoon, petrifying gaze straight onto Mujin, but it's not going to matter. Magifelix there with the seismic shove and the unraveled earth to finish off the kill. RB find themselves yet another pick.
Well, we did say for Larsen it'd be what can he do in the mid game, and if this kind of thing keeps happening, then he's going to find himself in a world of hurt. Still is ahead in CS, still sitting quite pretty in the mid lane thus far. If he falls behind though, the team literally have nothing to bring them through into the mid to late.
Still got that tier. And the Rod going to stack up. Magifelix does get Nether moved, or Nether stuck more like JWoww. Activating that Ravenous Flock. Has to flash away though as Magifelix does the same. Mujin came in with the Cocoon, didn't want to get stunned up. Uh-oh, speaking of stun up, Kasing is going to go down. Double bombs into the knockup from Dan, secures the kill, and that's going to get taken, unfortunately, by AOD. You can imagine Woolite definitely wanted to have that one.
Yeah, Mujin, you know, he's making a good impact so far again, still involved in every single kill. Did obviously contribute quite well towards Larsen getting that kill, forced the flash out of JWoww. The big question for me is, was that really a worthwhile trade? JWoww lost his flash, but Magifelix lost his. And I think for him, it's probably more impactful. He's the guy looking to make plays in the bot lane here to try and keep Woolite suppressed. Doing a good job so far, still down 25 CS. You know, Cedrian's looking like he's going to come online and be a pretty big monster once he starts getting those first couple of items coming through. No worries for him at all in this bot lane. It's just small things can go wrong here. Dan's now got himself 2 assists, so much better impact from him thus far. A pretty quiet early game, but has started to make some kind of, showed some signs of life, should we say. Breathing life back into the War Machine.
Back into the War Machine.
That's one we've not really used before.
War Machine, yeah. Good Iron Man reference. That is true.
Well, it's not even Iron Man, it's just a general reference.
Yeah, that's fair play.
Keep the gears turning, that's Dan's job.
That's exactly what he's trying to do now, but RB have other business to attend to, and that attending business is Larsen. He gets seismic shove, he gets Cocoon. Is he going to be able to go down? No, he is not. Here comes the ultimate from AOD to keep him alive. Magifelix trying to find out the kill here. Mujin almost went down to that turret as well. Cedrian now forcing down this turret in the mid lane. There will be Kasing backing off after taking a double bomb to the face. Ravenous Flock is going to get activated. Thal with the ultimate as well. Both stunned up, actually both rooted. Here comes Magic Felix off the Weaver's wall. JWoww in a lot of trouble. That's the same for Ravenous Flock. It's not going to be enough because he's going to get taken out as well. Thal is going to secure it. 1 kill on the board for him, and that's the pressure advantage for RB. They're going to be able to take this turret in the top lane.
Magic Felix getting vengeance on his killer from earlier on. He said the flashes probably wouldn't be a big deal for JWoww, but it turns out here it was, because Magic Felix had plans to pay him a small visit, riding on those rocks to get up there and get himself another kill coming through. And 1-0-2 on Thal now. We've seen from Dan on Origin what can happen when a Kennen really starts rolling, and to be fair, he's been pretty quiet in the top lane thus far. Once he gets 2 or 3 items, he becomes terrifying. His early game is good. His mid game has a little bit of a lull, but then late game, it's nigh on impossible to stop him. He's such a powerful split pusher.
Yeah, he is a devastating split pusher, especially when he gets a couple of items like you mentioned. War, though, doing what they did last game and answering that turret take with a dragon take of their own. Will secure that mountain. Much, much more beneficial than the Cloud Drake they secured last game. However, Mugen and Thal, with that pressure in the top lane now, will be able to secure Harriet, the Herald. It's going to go over to them, and Mugen made it work, you know, sublimely last game. They managed to secure that tier 1 turret in the mid. It got a little bit of damage down to the tier 2. We'll see what he can do with it this time around.
Yeah, deploy it in mid lane again, because Larssen, his wave clear is brilliant. The denial of getting anywhere near his tower, you walk onto that grounded and you are in so much pain potentially if he can start landing those Twin Fangs down. So for them now, it's more about getting this mid lane down again, doing what they did last game, repeat it. Get the top lane, get the mid lane, get the bot lane towers, get a line of vision down, and then you can sneak away one of these early barons. You've got the Kalista to play with this time round. We've seen before, in the LCS this week in fact, just how impactful the Kalista can be when trying to take away these major objectives.
It's just scary to look at, really. A Fed Kalista has almost got Blade the Ruin King finished, sitting on that Cutlass and the recurve bow. Now, RB once more, looking towards this top side. Thal and Mugen getting the old flankaroo off. JWoww in a lot of trouble. Sharkan just ends up missing. Mugen as well with the mobility boost. Maybe would have caught up to him, but, you know, JWoww has got a little bit of disengage. Dan actually is going to jump onto Magic Felix in the mid lane, does pop Ghost. There comes Larssen through as well. Doesn't have flash available to him, does pop the Ghost as well. Magic Felix trying to run away. There comes the Void Rush. Magic Felix still alive. I don't know how, but he's still going for it. Prey Seeker ends up finding the kill. Dan did hit the Void Rush, the Prey Seeker to finish him off, but that will be another nice kill going the way of War.
Putting that Rek'Sai to good use so far, and again, you got to look at the gold lead here. We're at 15 minutes, and there's only 1,500 between the two teams. We said last game, if they got to 20 minutes and the gold difference was only 2,000, this will be dreamland for Wind and Rain, and right now, they're on the way there. It's not over for them here. Imagine if we look back at this at the end of the day and go, oh yeah, Wind and Rain versus RB, how did that one go? Oh, 1-on-1? That would be a huge surprise. But they're definitely getting pretty close to making it happen, I feel. Larssen still looking very powerful. Now finish off that Rod of Ages and the tiers stacking up. You've got that Rod of Ages in the top lane also stacking up for them. This is much better played by Wind and Rain than last game.
Absolutely. Completely agree with you. And I mean, that late game scaling will come online maybe a little bit earlier this time.
The issue is they've got to contest with the Kalista and the Kennen. That's a very, very scary late game duo.
That it is. 1,000 in the lead for RB right now at 15. Rather than the 4,000 they were in game number 1. Now Larssen's turret.
AOD being forced to use his ultimate in the
Not
bot
been
lane there as well.
breached. Oh, actually Petrifying Gaze. Magic Felix with the look away. Does manage to dodge out of that one. That's a lot of damage coming out from the Liandry's Torment from Magic Felix. He's forced to back off.
Yeah, one thing we kind of missed out there as well. Woolite had to use his flash. Ignite came out from AOD's own ultimate came out too. That was a scary potential in both mid lane and bot lane there for Wind and Rain to lose members, but they did hold on. No one lost anything except for their summoners. And maybe a mid lane tower.
Yeah, maybe a mid lane turret, yeah. With Larssen committing that Petrifying Gaze onto Magic Felix and taking a lot of return damage. That equals the tier 1 in the mid. That's going to open up the map now. Let's look at itemization now, Des. You got the Executioner's Calling coming out from Thal once again. This is the second time in a row he's picked that up against the Swain, and rightfully so.
Absolutely.
Reduces a lot of that healing.
Yeah, just want to make sure he can't walk through them and just
hang
take
on, Mugen might be a little bit caught. Weaver's Wall's going to come through, not going to help him whatsoever because Larssen is going to be able to pick it up with the Twin Fangs. Magic Felix a little bit late on the rotation, but Mugen a little bit too far up on a warded try.
You're giving quite a lot over, it feels here. In fact, top lane Thal as well going in for a fight. JWoww losing as well.
Almost lost. He didn't lose.
He lost damage trade-wise, he lost.
Damage trade-wise, yeah. He used the Blade the Ruin King for the disengage.
I'd classify that as a loss.
Loss of pressure, definitely. He has to actually rotate down towards the mid lane now. Maybe get a recall off to get a little bit of that HP back.
This is what we said last game for Wind and Rain. Put Larssen on something like a carry, let him start scaling up and get to the point where he can be stupidly impactful, and it's getting that way. But an interesting deploy of Rift Herald here in base towards the top lane.
That bird as well, following it through. I love that. The random Swain birds that appear sometimes when you're on the map. It's going to return to him, though. But yeah, Harriet the Herald is going to just march.
That's quite a timely march, to be fair.
It is a tiny march. Very, very quick. I wonder what the movement speed is. I'd be kind of curious to find out. Now Tharl is going to be able to push this lane in, and now, I mean, the advantage of doing that, you could say, for RB is the fact that they've got a lot of time now to kind of react to the Heralds being used, but that's also the same for War. They can now just put a lot more resources in that top lane in order to clear it out a lot quicker and get it down to make sure it doesn't take that tier 2 turret.
Last game we were talking for RB and saying if they really want to start pushing the advantage here and close this game out, it was to take Baron, and sure enough that led to them closing out the game in just a few minutes later, or a few minutes later. They closed the game out about 26 minutes in, got the Baron about 21. It was a nice cozy end for them, and it feels here like Wind and Rain do have an opportunity to come back into it. So surely as RB, you're thinking once more, let's get that Baron, let's get that vision denied again. There's very, very little vision actually going on at the minute on the map for them. So if they can look towards that, take it away, then maybe they can start closing out things a bit more cozy, because JWoww's wave clear, Larsen's wave clear, and even the wave clear from Woolite with that Shiv. It's incredibly hard to push these towers in right now. They haven't even got this bot lane tower, and we're nearly 20 minutes into the game. That's never something I thought I would say when I knew that it was Wind and Rain versus RB.
I mean, exactly that. Like, the ability for War to just clear waves, just zone with Cassiopeia, zone with the traps, is very, very prominent. And we'll see if RB can actually kind of deal with that. Now, they are all in the bottom lane. Dan's been down here for a fair while. So has Mujin. That dragon is up. It's an Ocean Drake. So it's not the highest priority, but Mujin's still wanting just to crack that tier 1 turret in the bottom lane as it's so, so low.
Indeed. And one thing we mentioned, I think, previously in this game or in this series was that, you know, RB sometimes, not so much get cocky, but definitely with their picks. Oh, flash from JWoww.
Really early flash, yeah. Lightning Rush is going to just follow him up quite nicely. Executioner's calling, Whirling a Wonder. Hang on a second,
flash.
Never move, almost lands. Tharl does flash over it, though, just to save his own life. Very, very aggressive. We know him as this aggressive top laner, but sometimes, you know, you've got to know your limits.
You can see the damage starting to be returned by JWoww now, which kind of Tharl must be thinking there, thinking, oh dear, I don't have this big presence I thought I would. Again, we have a mid-game lull on Kennen. It's expected. It's not the end of the world for them. They're still looking towards that late-game Kennen to really put on that split push pressure they're hoping for. Drake being starting up now as well. No real contest it seems coming through from Wind and Rain.
Well, they know JWoww is low. Tharl is as well, so no real teleports coming out from either side. Easy Ocean Drake, and that'll be another Ocean Drake coming through as well in about 7 minutes' time.
One thing we touched on at the very start of this series, actually it was before the broadcast, myself, you and Medic were speaking about this. We were saying for Red Bulls, it's not so much that they draft badly, it's just sometimes they take comps where they think, right, in our minds and mathematically, we're going to win this game. You know, we feel pretty confident in our abilities, what we can do, given how last game went, we can afford this. They have one tank in this game. Everyone else is going full damage. The Elise is going full damage, the Kennen, the Taliyah, and obviously the Kalista is going the same way as well. So you're relying on this Braum to be the big tanky frontline for you. I think if you get to the point where you've got the Kennen and the Caitlyn being able to shed through you, and JWoww as well, we already saw what damage potential he's got. One tank isn't going to be enough. You're going to find your carries getting eliminated quite quickly if you're not careful.
I mean, we haven't seen either team kind of fight where that's going to be a real possibility. Something else to... Yeah, exactly, not yet. 20 minutes
Soon.
into the game. 4K in the lead now for Red Bulls.
Yep.
Just again, ever extending that lead. But you look at game number 1, 5 minutes ago, 15 in game number 1, 15 minutes that is, they were 4K, 5K in the lead. So a bit slower pace this game. And I think War have played this very, very well, considering their composition. Again, picking a more scaling comp with the Cassiopeia, with the Caitlyn, with that Swain as well. Will mean, though, RB do get a free turret in the bottom lane. That tier 1 is going to go down, opening the map up a little bit more and making their turret score 3-0.
That was a heavy committal and also a bit of a risk because, let's not forget, they've got 3 members in the bot lane here. If Wind and Rain wanted to really pull that trigger we keep speaking about, this proverbial trigger, potentially a catch in mid lane.
MagiFelix, though, there goes the Petrifying Gaze. He actually flashes out the way, uses the Ghost. Storm Ranger Surge procs as well, after doing a little bit of damage down to Dan. Larsen didn't commit the flash, though, which is the important thing.
It's Wind and Rain pulling the trigger. We mentioned it a lot at the end of last game. I love what they've done so far. The changes they've made, the change in play style, it feels. They are being a lot more proactive here, forcing MagiFelix to be uncomfortable. And we said in the last game, you know, he needs to shine. He played against Galio last game. It was a pretty quiet game overall for him. Maybe this is when he could really turn out and shine. I'd actually argue it's the other way. Larsen is the one who's looking to be making these plays. He's constantly trying to force MagiFelix to get caught out by ganks from Dan. Yes, there were some great roams early on from MagiFelix, but other than that, he's been pretty quiet in the last 5-10 minutes of this game.
I completely agree. He has been fairly quiet, but the impact he's had across the map has been quite prominent with the Weaver's Wall. And one thing we mentioned earlier was this is going to be one of the toughest challenges War has to actually face.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, flash
That's
from AOD. As a flash, that is an ignite. That is some beautiful poison damage. Larson just chasing him under the turret. Twin Fangs finishes off the kill. AOD being very aggressive, but he knows he can be, especially when you've got Larson there to follow up with damage.
This feels like almost like payback. Like Woolite had a very, very rough early game, and now Wind & Rain are repaying the favour in the mid lane, catching Magic Felix out. My concern is, where's Muujin? Like, Muujin is usually always here for every single fight. He's laying down the aggressive plays himself and making ganks, but equally, he's been very quiet too. Go for a Gunblade pick here as well, by the seams of things. That's a interesting one. Usually you see a Protobelt on AP at least, not so much a Gunblade, but like, Muujin knows best. Supposedly.
Is that phrase, that hashtag, Muujin knows best?
Hashtag Muujin knows best.
Oh yes, mobility boots, Gunblade. That's a lot of movement speed, not a lot of catch potential.
He's got that Dark Seal as well with no stacks on it at the minute.
Hey, it helps with the potions, man, which he doesn't have. Now RB looking to take, or at least pressure up this turret. Oh, Cedrian actually is going to ult, but no, Larson's on the side.
Larson.
Petrifying gaze onto Cedrian. Cedrian has to blow the heal. Here comes the TP from both members of top lane, and Cedrian's going to flash away from Ace now. Kasing's going to tank it up, and Dan, is he going to fall? No! The first blood goes over to Kasing. He ends up going down, but they do trade 1 for 1, as Magic Felix did make his way into the fight. JWoww securing it. AOD as well, actually being killed.
That was
a little bit earlier.
Close. The Kalista there, that was the hero of that fight was the Vision Ward that's currently sat in that red side jungle for Wind & Rain. They had no idea Larson was there. These are the mistakes we saw Dan make last game where he went for engagers without true vision. That's exactly what Cedrian and Kasing just did, but to them it doesn't matter. Baron is now on the agenda.
Hey, do you know what Muujin's got a lot of? He's got a lot of damage. Not so much survivability right now, but Cedrian has got that Ren to smite it away. JWoww's going to come through, taking out bars for Red Bulls, but it doesn't matter because they are going to secure that Baron. Now is their time to escape. Cedrian, no flash, no problem. War's going to be able to take him out.
Woolite just damage though.
Almost getting taken out by Magic Felix as he kited away with the Qs. Larson actually flashing away from Thal. Thal just wanting some of this, wanting to fight every moment in the game. Magic Felix is going to dissuade Larson as well with that Unraveled Earth. They do get the Baron onto 4 members. Or 5 members, I should say. No, 4 members. I can't count currently. Cedrian will fall at the back of the pit.
RB must be feeling a little bit hot under the collar right now. That was a very, very close Baron take for them. Yes, they picked off Dan, but that could have gone very, very wrong if Larson had got there any quicker. 7 and 7 on kills. Look at the gold difference as well. We're currently set at 3,500 at 25 minutes. As I said, it's not quite Dreamland for Wind & Rain, but it's looking good. Look here at the vision on the right-hand side. That vision ward. Zero idea that Larson was going to come through. Great blocking coming through, though, you have to say, from Kasing. And this flash at the last second to be able to dodge away from this damage was perfect. He baited Dan away. Didn't get the kill in the end. He just go down eventually. But still, it's a 1-for-1 trade, and the jungler goes down. That was the big defining factor there with no Dan. It was a free Baron, and now RB can start to think, how can we really take control? How can we take control of the reins in this game again? How can we stop giving Wind & Rain all these opportunities to come back into it? Because right now, it's looking like they have that potential. Baron is going to change this.
Baron will change it. Now only 4,000 gold stands between these two teams. Slipped a little bit there. They were 5,000 at 20 minutes. Now they are 4,000. That Baron being taken as well is going to be massive. They're going to have a lot of pushing waves at this current moment in time. They have fantastic split pushes in Thal, although it doesn't have teleport. And Magic Felix can re-enter the fight with a Weaver's Wall as well. Cedrian, the only guy with that Baron buff, but if you've got Kasing there to kind of help you out in the lane, which we will do, it's not going to be too much of a worry for him. Now let's look at the itemization choices, and Muujin has finished the Gunblade. We weren't wrong.
Yes, I imagine this is coming through for the stickiness they've got. Like, the CC they've got is nice, but it helps if you can actually keep up to the enemy team as well once they've managed to get around that and try to escape. You've got Gunblade slows, you've got Bloody Ruin King slows, you've got the CC-based ultimates, the denial for the tower. He's done this twice now this game, so it's an effective use of it, to say the least.
That's massive. Only AOD and Dan really there to defend. And now Kalista does what she does best, take those turrets. Caitlyn just cannot get any traps down. Trap-lined the mid lane. And in the mid lane, meanwhile, actually JWoww almost getting taken out. Has to flash away from Thal. Didn't even use his ultimate. Larson's going to be here with that poison with those Twin Fangs, but that turret, regardless, is going to fall. There's 2 on the board right now using that Baron buff alone.
Yeah, just the pressure from RB, the help of that Baron buff, doing them a lot of favours. 2 towers going down, 1 left in the top lane for them. And you look on the bot side of the map, Wind & Rain have only managed to take 1 so far. That again is maybe, I don't want to say a sign of not pulling the trigger, but it is a sign, you know, we've spoke a lot about Wind & Rain needing to be the ones to bring themselves back up to this, and it's their plays that need to change. You know, RB are doing a lot of things right. They're applying a lot of pressure. They're making sure that there's no easy way for Wind & Rain to get these towers and start getting themselves vision control down. Admittedly, vision control this game from RB hasn't been incredible. They do have 4 or 5 wards down in the blue buff side right now, but otherwise, they don't really worry too much. They're quite happy with how this game is going. They've got the towers down. They want this top lane tower, but unfortunately, there is a JWoww-shaped Swain sat there right now, denying any of that wave pushing in.
A JWoww-shaped Swain.
Or
like a big old tusk.
Or a Swain-shaped JWoww? I guess that's probably better.
Probably. He's got the fully stacked here, fully stacked Rod of Ages even. Now Zhonya's, and he's got the Spectre's Cowl, which is going to be built into the Spirit Visage. Extra healing for him isn't going to go amiss. Now RB just forcing their way down this mid lane. Still got a little bit of time on that Baron buff as well.
And Woolite as well. Let's not be mindful of what he can do. He's now at 2 items. It's still not the ideal power point for him, but if he gets to 1 or 2 more items, maybe just the 1 more will be enough for them. They have this tanky front line to be able to protect him. They've got the disengage from Larssen if they need it to keep this Caitlyn alive. Right now, it's the Larssen story. It's what can Larssen do to get us through a little bit. In the next 5-10 minutes, if we get to that point, Woolite comes online. We've got JWoww, who is nigh on unkillable. This is when things start getting scary for RB, so they really need to try and look to close this one out, ideally before the 35-minute mark. Otherwise, I think Wind & Rain might actually start taking things back from them.
Well, you said and put it perfectly. You wanted to see Larssen on a carry potential
Look at this bait
champion.
They have no idea they're taking this bush.
Great bait. Oh, hang on a second. They're ignoring it because Magic Felix is going to get jumped on. Flash Ghost. There comes the Void Rush from Dan. Are they going to be able to follow up with the kill? No, they are not. In fact, Larssen tried to follow that with the Ghost, but Cedrian is going to be able to find JWoww. That bush bait working out perfectly for them. That tier 2 in the top lane now is vulnerable.
That was pulling the trigger a little bit too early there. You had no idea where Cedrian was, where Kasing was. You've got the top lane of Kennen pushing it that you need to deal with. Trying to force a play onto Magic Felix this late into the game. A bit of a risk, and now they're going to pay for it. They don't have JWoww covering this top lane anymore. It's a free push in for RB, and this could be the time when they start cracking the base open.
That they will, but Woolite is there with those traps. That is the thing that we talked about at about 8 minutes into the game. The fact that their engagement in these fights isn't going to have to be relied on as much because they can just counter siege.
Absolutely. I've got Wit's End being finished in the top lane as well for Tali. He just wants to get anything to do with anti-Larssen, anti-JWoww. Not too worried about Woolite at the minute. May come back to bite him, like I said earlier on, when Woolite comes online, if he manages to come online. No more silly plays like that, very, very heavy all in onto Magic Felix while you have no idea where the AD carry is. The answer is they were doing a bush bait, and while you've got a Kennen pushing into your tower.
A bush bait, baby. That's exactly what they did do. Cedrian now, let's look at his items then. If we're looking at everybody else's, we might as well look at his. 2, 1, and 2. Blade the Rune King, Runaan's, and the Hex Drinker. Like you said, anything to do with dissuading the damage from JWoww and Larssen is going to be perfect for them. Even AOD's got a little bit of base damage, so that's something else to keep in mind. Any magic damage will be negated with that Hex Stringer. Let's look at the gold differences as well. 10k to 12k in top, 10k to 12k in the AD carry role as well. And even in the mid, actually all of them, about 2k in the lead.
Yeah, the difference is about 9,000 now. Roughly, you can round it out to 10,000, I guess you could say, across all members of the both teams. But you know, 9,000 gold difference, like I said earlier on, we've seen teams come back from 12 to 14,000. It's more the exception rather than the rule that teams can do that. But I said, you know, Wind & Rain are likely going to be the rule rather than the exception, but I have belief. I feel they can do this if they manage to play their cards right. Yeah,
they're ramping that gold lead. It's exactly what they did in game number 1. Exactly what they're doing right now. It was 4k at 25 minutes, and now it's 10k at 30. Yeah, that's 6,000, that massive Baron power play. Secured them 2 turrets. And now, look at the vision line. It's being pushed up by RB, and this is exactly what they need to be doing, catching out Dan wherever he may lie.
Exactly what I was going to touch on in a second. You know, we've spoken a lot about Wind & Rain. In fact,
Muujin might be a little bit caught out. Kuga's a little bit wide. There comes the teleport from Tharlo as well, but it's not going to matter. Glacial Fissure to knock everybody up. Dan going very low. The Cedrian damage is absolutely massive. Thal catches up 2 people with the stun, but Larssen on the sideline, free hitting. They find 1 kill. Are they going to be able to kite back? Unravel Durf on JWoww. He goes bird, he goes golden, and that will be him going down regardless. Magic Felix finds that kill. 1-for-1 trade right now is RB and War. They are head-to-head. Oh no, Magic Felix has found Woolite. Woolite almost falling, but that double bomb from AOD just making sure Magic Felix can't find the finishing blow.
So an engage from Wind & Rain there looked like it was going to go well. RB managed to turn it back round, and then Wind & Rain still managed to walk away at a one-on-one trade. And this time they haven't lost their jungler. It's both top laners who have gone down. This is when Dan needs to make something happen. They need to contest this. Otherwise, I feel after 2 Barons, you're going to find yourself in such a difficult spot, and they will start losing inhibitors very, very soon.
Well, look at the HP bars on the side of War. That's actually a flash from AOD to try and catch up Magic Felix here. Ghost is going to get popped. Woolite is going to be able to find that kill. That Red's going to come through. Smite steal, and Dan gets it. War find the Baron. That's going to be massive for them. The Ren came through, 200 HP left, and War find themselves the Baron.
That was the smite from Muujin. Muujin smited that at 2,000 health. They just completely miscoordinated what they were doing, that Baron, and now Wind & Rain have found themselves with their own Baron, still 7,000 gold down, but they've got a new lease of life with this on their side, and suddenly RB must be thinking, guys, We are in danger right now. We are in danger of throwing away what most would consider a free win in this series.
Highway to the danger zone. That is exactly the road they're driving down. Sedri and Ren did it at exactly the same time Mugen did. Just miscalculated. A couple of spears would have secured it, Des.
Whoops.
Whoops-a-daisy.
My bad, guys.
My B. Jungler not missing Smite and Sedri missing that Ren. But regardless of that, I mean, now, what can War do with this advantage that they've acquired? Because we got to look at the turret situation, the tower situation. In fact, we'll look at a replay first.
Keep an eye on what happens with the Smite here. You'll see Mugen smites at about 2,000. And I'm not sure where the Ren comes through from Sedri, and we'll see it as it comes through right now. But it's going down on foot. Magifelix, I don't know why he was off here all on his own, so slowed down by the Zilean. There's the Smite, the first Smite. Just a miscalculation on the damage from that Ren. Left it at 286 HP. Super easy Smite away for Dan.
That it was.
Big whoops.
Big whoops.
Big sorry, it's probably one way of describing the way that one worked out for them.
Sorry in caps.
Before we touch on, we spoke a lot about Wind and Rain in these last 10 minutes and how they can get back into this. Let's touch again on RB here, because they're not they aren't faultless, they have made mistakes, but they're doing a lot of things right. Already, you can see Mugen going towards the Spirit Visage. He wants to be able to deal with Larssen and JWoww. But Larssen right now doesn't really seem particularly containable. He's 3, 1 and 5, pretty much untouched in all these fights. He's got the Seraph's Embrace, he's got the Banshee's Veil. Everything is going the way he wants it to right now, and it seems he's looking to go towards a Morello's here to deal with that lifesteal that's coming through from Cedrian and Thal.
Oh, Cocoon lands. Venomous Bite as well lands. Mugen maybe in a little bit of trouble here. He is very, very tanky. Flash knock up here. Here comes the Glacial Fissure to knock 2 members up. This is where Cedrian's time to shine. He's going to come in. He has got Rend available, but it doesn't matter. He's super low. Has to back off. Larssen, now they are just going to have to run away from Dan at this current moment in time. Their Dragon's going to blow him back. He's going to get the kill. Chrono Shift has been used. Comes back with about 1/3 HP. It's going to be able to get away. The Dragon, in the meantime, is going to get taken by War somehow. JWoww goes golden on the sidelines. Magifelix almost goes down. He ends up flashing away, but Woolite has come online. Woolite's come up big. He finds himself a kill, and JWoww finally burning down Magifelix.
And that's 2 kills for Wind and Rain. You could not have scripted this if you wanted to. This is a brilliant play from them so far. For Dan, it looked a little bit shaky there. It was like, well, surely he's going down here. No, he survives. He gets into Baron Pit. AOD, the Zilean pick, working out fantastically for them. And again, they've got tanks. They've got a front line. What do RB have? They have an Elise. She's getting melted down by Dan. In fact, JWoww here is going to get himself picked up. A little bit of a overextension. This is where small mistakes can start costing you now. They've found a way to start getting a lead back here. Larssen is going to melt through this tower with Woolite. It's just small things that can cost them. It would be a real shame for Wind and Rain to start throwing this away by getting picked off in side lanes. The best bet they can do right now is group together, look to try and force down an inhibitor. We said if they got a Baron, they would start taking towers. That's both bot lane towers now down. Mid lane is looking very, very shaky. And let's not forget, Elder Drake will be up soon. That's the big the big fighting point for me, potentially. That's when whoever wins that fight out can potentially close out the game.
The gold hasn't really shifted incredibly between any of the laners. Still about 2,000, but Larssen now scaling up. And like you said, this one last fight could end it all. With the amount of turret taking potential that War do have with Woolite on their squad, it's going to be very, very scary to look at. Even RB. You're looking at Thal. He's got a lot of attack speed now. He's got the Runehands. He's got the Wit's End. Executioner's Calling needs to be finished off as well as the Blade of the Ruined King. They have Magifelix for the zone, Cedrian 2. Just one fight will rule them all.
It will indeed, and Woolite is now at his 3-item point, going towards the Vampiric, probably going to look towards
the Curious Scimitar.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe he goes to try and finish that one off first, potentially. But either way, he's at 3 items now. This is when you have to start paying attention to the Caitlyn again. You can ignore her after you shut her down in the early game. Like I said, you get to 35 minutes. RB, I said, need to close this out by 35 minutes. Otherwise, Wind and Rain will start to come online with this late game competition. They picked it twice now. And it feels like RB, despite their greatest efforts in the early game, just couldn't quite shut this one out. To Wind and Rain's credit, they managed to pick up some really good laners who can clear waves very well. They went for the Shiv early on the Caitlyn. They got Larssen in the mid lane with that great wave clear and tower damage denial with the W on the Cassiopeia. And JWoww, he's dealt with Thal all game. He's laid down a lot of damage back onto him, to be fair. And speaking of Thal, he's at pretty much a late game full build here right now. This is when things can get scary equally for JWoww. And this is where I think Wind and Rain need to start paying attention to Thal, maybe trying to do some collapses to deal with him. Otherwise, he will just split push them to death.
That's exactly what he's doing right now, split pushing them to death. That tier 2 turret is down in the bottom lane already, so...
He's too scared of dealing with JWoww. I mean, that's the problem.
Executioner's Calling will negate a lot of that damage, but that turret in the mid is going to fall. And it will go over to War.
This is getting scary. Very, very scary for RB.
They're on a knife's edge right now.
And that gold difference is shrinking. It's at 6,000 now. It was at like 9,000 about 5 minutes ago. Small steps to bring themselves back into it. That's all they need. But let's not ignore Cedrian as well. He's now 3-1 of 4. He is full build. They've got 2 of those Executioner's callings out. They want to be able to deal, probably with the heal coming through from Larssen, from Woolite as he gets himself that Mercurial Scimitar pickup. JWoww as well, of course, with his own heal. And let's not forget, Dan, with the the revised Rek'Sai, does have quite a bit of healing packed into that kit. It's in shorter bursts than it was before, but it's healing nonetheless that they want to be able to deny.
Yeah, Mercurial Scimitar was the finished item for Cedrian there. Like you said, Executioner's calling just across the board. And now even Mortal Reminder being finished by Thal, so he's ripping through people like nobody's business.
I would like to see maybe have Dan go towards a GA here as well. The AD does synergize very, very well with the new fighter-based kit that Rek'Sai's got. And you can potentially go for things like this here. With the Baron coming up in just 1 minute, it's the opportunity to go for those steals, to try and take some risks. We saw them make I wouldn't say a risk, but they made a committed play onto Magifelix earlier on, and it did cost them. But don't be afraid to take the risk that can yield great rewards if you get it right. If you get it wrong, you've got AOD's Revive, you'll have a GA in that case. Lots of things can work out for you, and Dan that way shouldn't be too scared about going for those sort of plays.
Well, speaking of big objectives across the map, 1 minute and 50 seconds till that Elder Drake spawns as well. At 35 seconds on that Baron. It was stolen last time by War, but again, RB just being very proactive with their vision. Are going to be able to clear out a lot of these wards that War have been placing. And now they're trying to just reclaim some of that river. And the thing is, what did War really do with that Baron buff? They took 1 turret.
They didn't do much, that's absolutely for sure. And RB now, you can already see now that the Baron buff has gone, they've started to creep back in and place their own vision around Baron, namely because that is up in 10 seconds time. The question is who bursts it down. You've now got a Cassiopeia coming through into the late game, and her damage onto objectives is ridiculous. They might just try and burst it out immediately here, because look where the rest of RB are. They're all sat in the mid lane here. Let's have to try and push maybe towards...
very low. Whoa, Thal with the flash. Here comes the Weaver's Wall as well. The bird goes golden, but Magifelix is going to be here. JWoww gets Seismic shoved. Unraveled Earth finishes off the kill. There comes the Muujin Repel, actually. He hasn't got a flash. He's got a flash. He's still got a flash. He's still very low. Will they be able to find anything at all? I don't think they will. Glacial Fissure, but the spike comes through. It's going to get secured by War. But what can RB do to dissuade them? Are they going to be able to stop these backs?
Can they stop them from ending the game here, potentially? If they can keep these backs cancelled, they might be able to force this one out now. Already, though, Larssen has got backs. He will deny that one. Question is, how many members of War make it back to one piece?
Muujin find the cocoon, flash on Burrow from Dan, but that's a massive ultimate here coming through for the Glister. AOD is going to get soloed out here, possibly, if Cedrian could find the Rend. Those double bombs are going to dissuade them, but look at the flashes and Summoners burnt on the side of War. They still get Baron buff onto 4 members, and that's what's key.
Big key for them. They lost the tower, they lost the life, but they got Baron and kept RB from getting Baron, which is probably the biggest thing for them, I think, because if RB had got hold of that, they can siege so much more effectively. They've got all this capability, the denial. If they group as one, they've got the split push Kennen they can form up. They can throw themselves into a 1-3-1 if they wanted to, and send Taliyah off to split, but now that just cannot happen. Now you've got to look towards Elder Drake there. That's within 5 seconds, and if Wind and Rain can secure this, they've got 2 big objectives on their side. That could be their sign to win this game. This TP coming out of JWoww says, we're going for it right now.
Heavy committal from the TP, no vision at all from RB.
How have they let this one go? They've had such good vision all game, and now they've given it away.
Melted is the correct terminology for taking that Elder Drake.
Oh dear.
That's 2 dragons as well being buffed. You've got the ocean, you've got the mountain. Now they are turret-taking machines. That was a lot of BM.
Woolite just trolling his mid lane there. Yeah, thanks for carrying us through the mid game, mate. I've arrived now, so sit down.
Sit down.
No need to go back to base.
4 items as well completed by Woolite. It's very, very scary. Caitlyn, the siege potential is massive with that Cassiopeia as well. That Miasma is just going to rip through RB. Speaking of ripping through, Cedrian's going to be able to clear that wave.
Group and win. Group and win. This is what War need to do, and they're doing it now. They're all in the mid lane. This Kennen is off by himself in the top lane. They could force this fight if they want to. There's nothing really here, to dissuade them from going in. Yes, you've got to deal with a couple of ultimates, but damage-wise, what's there to worry about? Cedrian, you just dive on him and wipe him out, and then you've got to deal with Magifelix. Other than that, damage is very limited.
Thal's coming down, though, through the river. I think they know. They haven't actually got any vision. JWoww is going to be seen in that top side. Now, will Thal make a proactive play? No, they do not.
They've just dropped a ward inside the bush in their own red jungle to try and track where Thal is. So surely here they're thinking, right, play it safe. Until we know where he is, let's back off.
RB seeming to play it slow and slow now. Just doing what they did last time. That War did take that Baron buff. Still 5,000 in the lead, though, for RB. And now that Elder Drake doesn't last long whatsoever. Baron buff will wear out just after the Elder Drake will. But War need to do something right now. They need to be very proactive. Thal in this top lane still has teleport. JWoww doesn't, so he's got to be very, very aware of that.
The concern here is, JWoww probably is less necessary to a fight than Thal, it feels. Potentially he's where they have a fight like this.
Oh, here we go. Thal's going to engage onto JWoww or more. JWoww's going to engage onto him. He goes golden. Fight. This could be really bad for him. Sustain's not going to be there. Executioner's calling. Mortal Reminder is so close, but he's going to find the kill anyway. Oh my goodness, that never move almost connecting. Thal almost fell. That turns this game into a 4v5. Root onto Kasing, stands on a trap. Woolite is there with that just incredible damage. 50 caliber nets towards Magifelix. That could have gone south very quickly, but decides to back off.
That was my big concern. Imagine if you managed to get the knock-up onto him, it would have been a dead Woolite, and that would have been the game gone. Like, play defensively. Now, I know that they've had these double buffs. They've got the Baron, they had the Baron, they had the Elder Drake. They haven't managed to make use of them though. Thal is just his threat. They know that JWoww can no longer deal with him one-on-one. Admittedly, he doesn't really have any armor. He's got Azonias, he's got his Spirit, he's got his Rod of Ages and his Void Staff. Probably needs another item before you can face off against a full build Kennen.
I mean, yeah, that's what he's right now. Full build. Full build. He's got 6 items, actually selling the boots just now. I wonder what he's going to buy. That is the big question there. Phantom Dancer. You know, I don't need boots. I don't need attack speed boots. I need crit. I need more attack speed and a little bit of movement speed. He's not going to be as fast before, but Lightning Rush obviously there.
I want it all. That's exactly what he's saying. Everyone's starting to hit level 18 as well.
And he wants it now.
Yep. AOD, Mujin, and Kasing, the only ones not currently sat at level 18. So this is true late game now, which is where Cassiopeia can shine, where the Caitlyn can shine. Kalista, if enabled, will do exactly the same thing as well. Datilia, less so, I suppose, in the late game than what she would be otherwise. Not obviously the best burst mage to have at this point in the game, but it's still the mobility they have. It's still the potential pick that they could have onto Woolite here. He doesn't have anything to particularly keep him safe. Yes, he's managed to get hold of himself with that Mercurial Scimitar. He doesn't have GA, so one pick onto Woolite means half of the damage disappears from a fight. Dan
changing up his Kha'Zix pick has really worked out for him. This Rek'Sai has been so impactful. 8 out of the 12 kills thus far has been very, very good at setting up a lot of these plays for Woolite and Larssen. I mean, we hark back to what we mentioned at the start of the game, and we said War are looking for this 1-1. They are looking for this 1-1 because they need to show that they are extremely competitive and can close out games. And that's exactly what they are doing.
No boots at the minute for Thal. He sold that out to get yet another item to strengthen himself. But we're at that point in the game, ladies and gentlemen, where boots are being foregone in favor of damage. Everyone's hitting those late game builds. This is where it gets very scary because you know, like in this case, this could be the kind of game that comes back to bite RB later on. You know, the one game that they lose could be this game against War, giving them a draw. That can start having real big implications
in a lot of trouble though. Nethermove's not going to be able to connect. Here's the Weaver's Wall. Magifelix is going to join them. Dan just getting melted. Speaking of getting melted, JWoww's going to have to go golden. Eisenhole's going to come through. He's going to get blocked by the Banshee's Veil. And now Thal just continuing moving up. Magifelix hot on the use of the Weaver's Wall. That inhibitor is bare. And it will get taken most doubtably by Thal.
That's a very speedy snake.
Very speedy snake.
When AOD gets that down.
And movement speed stacking up on the passive now, so no boots can be acquired by the Cassiopeia. It's the old anecdote of how does Cassiopeia even wear the boots? Does she wear one boot on the tail?
The answer is no, she's just sped up through time.
Not anymore. Now she just gets quicker as the day gets longer.
You got to kind of worry here kind of for Wind and Rain. They can't stop Thal's split push. So they're constantly forced to have to deal with that. Look towards the top lane as well. Look at that minion wave pushing in. That's the one thing that's going for Wind and Rain's kind of favor right now. Despite getting those double buffs, they are still behind by about 7,000 gold. You know, RB has still got hold of this game. They still have control where they want it. They've just got to start worrying now because small things again can slip away. We step for Wind and Rain. Small mistakes can cost you this whole game and lead this series to be a draw. But equally the same applies to RB.
45 minutes on the clock.
Look at that minion wave.
Just gonna, whoa, okay, there goes the turret. Tier 2 in the top.
To 0.
Yep, see you later. Mujin has found Dan, used that blast cone to get away. Dan is such a scary, scary Rek'Sai right now. You gotta look at the top of this current moment in time. Thal and JWoww just continually battling it out. Thal just wants this inhibitor.
We know JWoww can't win.
Give it to him, man. Then Nethermove does end up missing. JWoww can't back right now. He cannot give up this inhib. That Baron is up in 5 seconds as well, Des.
It feels like nothing has changed in the last 7 minutes, though. Nothing has really changed from the state of the game. You know, it's the same split push, just now in a different lane. You know, fights haven't really kicked off. No one's really died in recent memory. But this going down could be a big deal. If they get the Baron, it's worth it.
There goes the inhib. He still has teleporter available. Teleport available to him. Look how fast that Baron is going down with the Cassiopeia. And the Caitlyn is going to get secured by Wind and Rain.
Larssen.
Oh dear, a little bit of trouble. He does have flash, so does Woolite. It goes away, and there they go over the wall. JWoww in a 1v1 with Bao. Goes golden, goes the kill as well. War will find the solo kill. Now, 5v4 situation with Baron buff in their back pocket. What do War do in this current situation? They need to be able to pressure RB now.
You know what JWoww says? I don't care about boots. I'll keep my boots. You can sell yours. In this case, Thal cannot 1v1, and this is the late game Kennen that everyone speaks of. And we always say late game in split pushing, you cannot stop this guy. They've just managed to do that.
521 farm on the cannon as well. That's how insane. He's actually sold Static Shiv, by the way, to pick up another item. He's got all the gold in the world. Teleport is going to come through from JWoww now. This is the time. War needed. This is their chance, their opportunity. They do break the base of RB. That inhibitor is not going to be long for the world, but Woolite is very, very chunked out. Cocoon goes a little bit wider. JWoww, look at all the poke coming through from RB. Not sure War can step up to it right now, but they don't need to because they got those Baron minions.
Schalke must be watching this with much intent, knowing that Dan likely for Origin is going to be picking the cannon later on as well. This is the opportunity to say, we found out how to beat it. It's a 45-minute full build, Swain, but it still works. Kasing
wanted to go for a small engagement, using that Righteous Glory to get up close and personal. Couldn't find anything. Glacial Fissure wasn't actually off cooldown, only just coming back up now. That base has been broken. That inhibitor is down in the mid lane, and now War have that pressure advantage in the mid, but equally on the side of RB, still have that inhibitor down in the bottom side.
I just love that War are stepping up as well as they are. Like, forcing their way down mid lane like that is a very, very bold move, but we spoke about it so many times, especially in the first game, saying they aren't being proactive, they're being reactive. This is them waking up and saying, right, we've got to start making plays now. Woolite is online. Larssen is still absolutely monstrous on this Cassiopeia. Let's just go for it. Let's see what we can make happen. If we have to take risks to win this game, we'll do it.
21,000 gold to 18,000 in the top lane.
Not that it matters, both full bills.
Absolute monster, absolutely. Thal, in fact, just selling items at whim now, just to pick up something else.
He's trying to think, right, what combination is going to work against JWoww here? Because I've just lost a fight to him. And
Mercurial Scimitar was the answer to that one. Did sell the Static Shiv and actually picked up the Merc Scimitar. So
I'm not sure what bait they're trying to go for here.
A little bit of bait.
There's literally no reason why Wyndham Rain will be looking this way. They've got to clear out the top wave. They've got members in the bot lane, which RB are aware of. They're just kind of chilling out here.
They're chilling in that brush. Sejuani will show himself in the mid, and now War just pushing down this bottom side. Four-man group with JWoww in the top. JWoww doesn't have teleport though, remember.
They've just walked over towards. They know all these members are here moving towards the top, so they need to either go for a base race here, or they need to recall and stop this pressure coming in from RB.
Base race versus a Cassiopeia.
Oh,
well, not so much. Woolite, in fact, doing a lot more damage than the Cassiopeia to turrets. Here comes the recalls. They've got Baron buff repulse as well. But look at this turret. It's going to melt. They've got Taliyah there. They've got Thal on this cannon. They're going to get joined by Sejuani soon as well. Although Netherboot's going to find two people. Thal using that cleanse to get away from it. MagiFelix using that Weaver's Wall as well to disengage. Unraveled Earth is very, very to pass over now. Very, very dangerous to pass over now for War.
Look at the bot lane. That's a lot of minions stacking up on this bottom tower. It might not take it. I kind of wish almost they'd left at least one member down there to make sure they have the Baron empowered minions going through.
They're picking it out.
Yeah, even leaving like Dan there would have been a fine, I feel, in this case. You've got JWoww to be your tanky frontline if you need him. But still, both teams retain their towers respectively, both on pretty much identical health as well. So a good push, both kind of breaking off one of the stalemate. 30 seconds till Elder Drake once more. This is another big fight for them.
This is the longest game we've had in CS this split. We're approaching the 50-minute mark. 13 apiece for each team, and they're only a 2,000 gold lead for RB. It's been slipping out of their hands like sand.
You never kind of thought, when you're going to think, well, what's going to be the longest game we have this season? You never would have said Wyndham Rain versus RB, ever. And now that's the way it's working out.
Late game compositions from both sides.
You've got to argue. They get the Elder here, though.
RB,
there's no contest from them.
They're not going to get it, because they're just going to have to back off here. He's going to get spotted out with the Scuttle Crab, so we'll know exactly what RB's plan is.
This is a really sketchy time. If there's any kind of smart plays coming through from RB, this could be the end of them. Woolite needs to be very, very wary as well. Here comes Cedrian.
Cedrian's hopping over the wall here to get a bit more of a position on the fight. Double bombs don't land on Mujin. Mujin pushing forward. Did use the Gunblade as well for the slow up on Dan. Kasing just taking so much damage. Woolite is just such a monster. Well, he's full build. Absolutely stacked full of items. 2 attack speed. You've got the Merc Scimitar, Infinity Edge, Lord Dominic's Regard as well. Woolite is only going to have a little looking over that wall. Oh my goodness, gets popped over the wall. MagiFelix is going to be there. It does get Chrono shifted though, so if it does go down, it won't be too much of a worry. Christmas trees are going to go out to dissuade the rest of Team War. This Rend is going to come through, and it does look like they actually just want to back off this, want to leave it to go over to RB.
They get the smite right that time at least. They managed to pick it away. So RB, we spoke about Wyndham Rain and their chances to come back. RB, again, not wanting to let go of the reins of this game. They wanting to take whatever they can, and right now it's pick and ban time apparently.
Pick and ban. We're going straight back into it. We'll get that off your screen very shortly. There we go.
I'm pretty sure pick and ban would be revisited somewhat, I think, by RB. Like, what they've got here is okay, but you kind of must feel, yes, we got the early pressure down to Woolite with this Taliyah pick, but would MagiFelix being on a late game carry, would him being on something more impactful arguably be a better choice for us here? Like, he can't full burst through Woolite, as we just saw. He was fine. Walked away even with the Zillion ult on just to keep him safe. They didn't have to worry about that. So right now, this Taliyah probably isn't capable of bursting anyone on the enemy team. They need to have more than one rotation to be able to get that damage down.
Well, Mugen says he wants his inhibitor again. Cedrion's going to be here as well. That attack's be doing a fair bit of damage. Woolite already at half HP. Elder buff from the Elder Drake is just chunking through him. The healing is going to be there from him, obviously. Thal with JWoww having a little 1v1 again. Merc Scimitar is down, so he hasn't got that to cleanse out of it. JWoww flashing forward. There comes the storm. Here comes the damage, but JWoww is going to find the solo kill. Meanwhile, though, RB are going to be able to take that inhibitor down in that bottom lane.
And RB have lost that pressure now. That's the pressure gone. Both inhibitors coming back up. This is when they can go for it and just go, right, we no longer have a cannon to split push against us. We can start forcing towers now. That's
exactly that. That inhibitor did come back up in the middle lane. So War, they don't have that pressure advantage like you just mentioned. And now RB do. They have super creeps on the next wave, walking, marching their way up. And look at the positioning now from War. They've actually are going for a little flank off here.
Oh, this could be absolutely huge. TP coming through behind as well.
TP for JWoww. Mugen know what's happening. MagiFelix is going to use the Ghost to try and get a bit of distance, but they're all split up now. They need to be able to protect Cedrion. He's going to get the flash. He's going to get the knockout. Petrifying Gauge comes through as well. The shields and heals aren't going to be enough. Dan takes the kill, and now Kasing in the front line. Now it is War. They are just melting through the front line of RB. That teleport from JWoww segregating the rest of their team off.
TP's available for Thal though as well. Let's not forget, they ignore this for too long, they find themselves in a lot of trouble. There are no wards in the base, so there are no minions up there for him to support onto. They've got no bot lane. They've got MagiFelix, who, again, on the Talia probably isn't the best thing to have. Mugen at this stage in the game equally. You're half tank, half damage. You don't really bring anything to this. They're relying on Thal right now to save their skins, and I don't think they can do it against a full War lineup.
Well, would you know, Thal sold another item has actually got the more of our Mortius at this point. Mugen is going to have to back off. Look, that free inhibitor. Oh. There comes the Weaver's Wall, but it is going to lock 3 members in on those turrets on the Nexus. Woolite is just going to melt through them. 30 seconds on the clock for Kasing and Cedrion to respawn. Are they going to be able to do anything? Not many minions to their name. There comes the Miasma to just wave Mugen. There goes one turret. Here goes the next as well. Their health bars are blinking. Mugen looking for a way into this fight. MagiFelix needs to find something. There comes the Petrifying Gaze. There comes the grounded. MagiFelix is going to fall in War. They're going to tie this one up 1-1 as RB fall.
How? You never would have written this into the history books in a million years, but Wind and Rain, the roster, most of us have written off and said they probably aren't going to be able to beat out a team like RB, one of the favourites in the whole tournament, tie one of our, our ideal teams to win this. Flawless, brilliant play towards the late game. We were worried in draft and saying